Guys, good morning. Right. Let's now start with the next kind of relationship, that is hierarchy relationship. See, as a part of direct relationship, as a part of standard relationship, Salesforce have 4 of them. The first is lookup, second, external lookup, third, master detail, fourth one is hierarchy relationship. These are the 4 standard relationships. Now, why we call them as a standard relationship? Because when we try to create a relationship and we click onto that new field, right? We click onto that new field button. For example, inside any object, you first of all have to go with the respective tab, and then you will going to get force.com quick access menu over there. And when you click onto this new, now this particular interface where I could select a data type. I mean, if I'm trying to create a new field, I first of all must select a data type for that. You can see those 4 names over here. Not 4 exactly, but 3 of them you can at least see. And because right now we have started with hierarchy, I'm going to tell you that where do you find this hierarchy as a name over here listed out. But we see the name of lookup relationship, the master detail relationship, external lookup relationship will also would be able to see the hierarchy. So these are termed to be the 4 standard relationships. Sometimes, sometimes just to confuse you in interview, they would ask you, what are the standard relationships in the Salesforce? Do you know how to reply that answer? How to reply for that question? Sorry. See, interview is more about your presence of mind. Interview is more about, they would try to juggle with, they will try to juggle with the words. You have to be very precise. You have to be very specific about the answers. An interview is more about, kind of perception level. How do you perceive? How do you respond to that? So when I told this to everyone that whenever there is a question about relationships, start by telling that there is a count. I mean, there are 6, although there are 6 different types of relationships. 4 of them are standard. There are 6 different type of relationship we could form in Salesforce. An object could be related with another object in 6 different ways in Salesforce, right? There are 6 different types of mappings we could create between 2 different objects. And those are, lookup, external lookup, master detail, hierarchy, one-to-one and many-to-many. These are the 6 out of 4. They are standard: lookup, external lookup, master, and hierarchy. These are standard. But due to certain circumstances, we should either have to go with many-to-many and one-to-one. Many-to-many we already have seen. Why should I go with many-to-many relationship? What could be the reason? What could be the requirement of creating this kind of relationship? One-to-one would be next part of discussion after completing hierarchy. So what is in hierarchy relationship? First of all, I probably have certain diagrams for this. Let me just try to grab one of them. Yeah, this one. All right. See, when you see this kind of structure, let's consider that we are having one object with us called employee. All right. Let's consider we are building up a CRM for an organization, and usually for organization, every organization, somehow this is going to be one of the object, right? Now it all depends, like either we are having a separate custom object to represent all employees, or we are making the use of, there is an object inside Salesforce called as users, right? And I would say you this one thing, that usually to describe the different employees of an organization, Salesforce has having an out-of-box functionality called as user object and roles. So you would going to learn this in securities. There's a topic, sharing and security. I mean, when we were being about to end this admin part, so as a second last topic, I would be starting a topic called as sharing and securities. That is a bit lengthy topic. You would be learning so many important things. Every topic, whatever we would be learn during that course of time would be a very important thing. All right. So Salesforce is having one out-of-box feature for this. I mean, if you wanted to describe the hierarchies of the users, like this particular person is a CEO, then CTO, CFO, or maybe a senior software engineer, a junior software engineer. So there's a proper hierarchy, and there's a way in Salesforce to describe those designations as well, right? So although there is an out-of-box functionality that called as user object, by which by which we could describe the different users, their roles and everything in Salesforce. But let's consider due to certain anonymous reasons, we are having one, we are having a table, we are having an object called as employees. All right. So let's consider that employee is one of the object inside our Salesforce CRM. I mean, we are building up a product for somebody, for our client, and we built up a table. We built up a table called as employee, right? Now, what do you see over here? I just wanted, I mean, it's a small thing. Let's consider these all are the users. These all are the employees. The hierarchy goes like this. This person, Praveen, is CEO, then Asit Kumar is delivery manager, Prajakta is project manager, Vishakha is team lead, and maybe Kasim is a senior Salesforce developer, right? Now, the hierarchy goes like this, is like, Kasim used to report to Vishakha, right? Vishakha reports to Prajakta. Prajakta reports to Asit, and Asit finally reports to the Praveen, right? The hierarchy goes like this. This is what. So here I could say that Kasim actually is associated with Vishakha, right? Vishakha again is having a relationship with Prajakta. Prajakta is associated to Asit, and Asit is associated to Praveen. Now, when you see this a kind of relationship where one record is related to another record, but both of them belongs to same object. Both of them belongs to same object. I could make this easy differentiation to understand. Let's go with, for example, let's go with position, or maybe a candidate. Let me try with this. So let's bring certain new columns over here. So I would be bringing a column called, this is candidate. So position applied. Let me go with this. And let me save it. Now you can see over here that there is one candidate, Ravi Kumar, is associated to Java developer. There's another record of candidate called Swati Kumari, who is associated to a positions record called senior account manager. Here in this case, Ravi belongs to which object? Ravi belongs to candidate. Ravi belongs to candidate. He's having a relationship with this record. He's having a relationship with this record, Java developer. And this Java developer belongs to another object called as position. If I would consider, if I would consider these as child, and these are parents, these are their respective parents, Now, child object is a separate object. All the child record belongs to an object called candidate. Whereas your parents, they belongs to a separate object called positions. The child belongs to a separate object. Parent belongs to a separate object. There are two distinguished objects. There are two different objects. And you stretched a relationship between them. You form a relationship between them. But child and parent, they are the records of two different objects. Child and parent, they are the records of two different objects. Child belongs to candidate, parent belongs to position. I can distinguish the same thing between position and hiring manager as well, right? I could distinguish it over here as well. I could show you that these positions, these all positions, who's the HR manager for this, right? Who's the HR manager? So the position called Java is being given to these, or maybe this is given to this. But ultimately, what is an end conclusion? What is an end conclusion over here? These position, these child records belongs to position, and this parent records belongs to hiring manager. The child belongs to separate object, parent belongs to separate object, right? This is what we have seen so far. But now with this, Now with this, there could be one another case in CRM. There could be one another case while mapping in hierarchy, while mapping a relationship, while forming a relationship. That what you see over here, this record is considered to be a child record. It is associated to this record, is considered to be a parent record. This record, if considered to be a child record, this would be the parent. This record, if considered to be the child, this is going to be the parent, right? So what we found over here and what it makes a different, makes a difference between the previously learned relationship and this one is like the child record as well as the parent record. The child record as well as the parent record. The child record as well as the parent record. Both of them belongs to same object. Both of them belongs to same table. Both are the entities of same object. So when the child and the parent record, both of them belongs to the same object. They are the record of same table. They are the record of same object. Now, this kind of relationship is called as hierarchy relationship. This kind of relationship is called as an hierarchy relationship. This type of relationship is called as hierarchy relationship. All right. I might have written certain theory for this. You have to go with this. You have to go with this. You have to read it out. A certain small definitions I have written that when an object is related to itself, or maybe I could modify this a little bit. When a record of an object is related to itself, is related to a record of the same object, I have to delete this. Then such a kind of relationship is called as hierarchy. That means that is both the parent record as well as the child record both belongs to same object. Both belongs to same object, right? This is what it signifies the hierarchy relationship. So when you see that a record is related to a separate record, but both of them belongs to the same object, then this type of relationship we used to call this as hierarchy. And I don't know why I have seen so many videos on YouTube where people used to describe one-to-one and hierarchy as the same type of relationship. And they used to say that hierarchy, the another name of hierarchy is one-to-one. Actually, it is not. After this, you would also going to learn one-to-one relationship. You would also going to learn one-to-one. See, that is going to be the last topic of relationship. After this, relationship is going to be ended. There are certain reasons why I kept it on to the last, because while forming this relationship, you should have an idea about roll-up summary and validation rules. And that is the reason I kept it in the last, but that's a different topic. There are some good significant differences between one-to-one and hierarchy. First of all, let's make it absolutely clear in mind that hierarchy is something else, one-to-one is something else, right? And both of them are not same. Both of them are not same. Hierarchy is a different type of relationship. One-to-one is a different type of relationship. All right. So now this type of relationship, this kind of relationship actually is when we wanted to create it. When we wanted to create it, understand, listen this very carefully. When we wanted to create an hierarchy, we could only create this inside user object. If you wanted to create a new hierarchy relationship, you cannot create it inside any another object. No standard object apart from user object, and no custom object, by the way. The hierarchy relationship can only be created, if you are creating it, you can only create it inside an object called user. So I go with setup, build, and customize. Here I'm going to find out user. Here I'm going to find out user. This is the user. Expand it. And when you go to the fields of user object, You can see on this page, these are all the standard fields that are available onto user. Let's go to the custom section. There is no custom field right now have been created. If you are about to create, if you wanted to create a new custom field inside this object user, go with this new button. When you go with this new button, the same user interface would appear. But the most interesting part of this is like, you can see the name of hierarchy relationship over here. And by the way, one more thing, what we have seen on user object, no other type of relationship could be created apart from hierarchy. User object doesn't support lookup, external lookup, master detail. If you are trying to create a relationship with user object, there's only one type of relationship which is possible, and that is hierarchy. This is the only type of relationship I could create it, right? I cannot right now demonstrate this to you because we don't have users. We haven't created users inside Salesforce. This is also we were going to learn in the security, but I can take you up to the few more pages, right? You select the hierarchy, you go with the next button, right? Name the field as like, you can give any name. I'm giving the name as custom hierarchy. Custom, hierarchy, custom hierarchy, and I'm clicking on to the next, right? You must enter a value. Child relationship name must, let me copy the same thing over here. Try to go with this only, right? I'm making this visible for all of the users, all of the profiles. I'm just trying to land it. See, when you try to land it, there would be two different page layouts where this field would be created. One would be the user's layout itself. All right. The another is community member. So this what is in community and all that you would be going to learn in security. Of course, I'm going to make you aware about something called as digital experiences in Salesforce. What does it mean by a community cloud? I'm going to give you one introduction about this, but we are having one member in our team, who is actually a specialized person in the Salesforce community, because he worked with so many different community projects. So we would going to provide you one special session just on community, right? All right. Before that, I know there are so many things to be learned. I'll try to get this. I'm sure that it would not appear over here. User object cannot be dragged directly. The code is 501. If I'm not wrong, no, it's solution. 501 is solution. All right. User object 500 is cases 501 00Q. I have another ways to do that. I have so many ways. Let me try to quickly fire a query. Select ID. Why should I select ID? No, I have to select ID. ID from user. Let me just grab it. 005. View in Salesforce, right? Insufficient privilege. Yes, of course. So yeah, this is what we get. But if I try to open this, even though, right, there would not. Yes. See, understand one thing. There are certain limitations with the user object, because user object is that object which, and let me tightly describe you. When we consider users, all right, not like that. When we consider the objects, all right, when we consider the objects, what you have learned so far is objects are of two types, standard and custom, of course, right? Standard are those that were already present, and customs are those that what you have created, like hiring manager position and all this. But there is one more category. That you would be going to learn in programming, called as setup objects and non-setup objects. Setup and non-setup objects. Now, setup objects typically are those objects, which have a direct interaction with Salesforce metadata. What is a metadata? What are the setup objects? This everything you would be going to learn in detail. Don't worry. I'm just trying to give you an introduction to why I was not being able to fetch the details of users, right? So that is what I'm just trying to make you aware a little bit. Otherwise, you would think कि ये कुछ तो भी error है. तो ऐसा नहीं है. The setup objects, these objects setup, they are having a very limited kind of access. You can access them up to a certain level. If you are changing, you can change them up to a certain level. Beyond that, you cannot make. The user object belongs to setup object. Profile, license, feedback. There are so many objects. You will going to get a list of all of them. They are setup object inside Salesforce. So when you are accessing any setup object, which directly make an interaction with Salesforce metadata, there is a limited number of access. You cannot go beyond that. Whenever you try to do any certain, that kind of thing, it would give you an error called as insufficient privilege. See, so I could save it at this moment itself. I could create a field with called as custom hierarchy, but I would not be able to, I would not be able to show you unless and until you learn something called as roles. What is a role hierarchy in Salesforce? So that was the reason why I was trying to say you, that I could show you this up to a certain level. Up beyond that, we cannot go. So if I save it over here, definitely one field inside user object would going to be get created. Let's try to do that. If I save it, see, one field is created inside. If you go to the custom field section, you can see one field has been created. But if a field is created, I must show you where to show you for page layout. I cannot bring you this, I cannot bring that onto, onto the page layout. So that exactly is a reason, that exactly is a reason. Even though if you have created a field like custom hierarchy, if you have created a field like custom hierarchy, it becomes really difficult to locate and give the examples on that, right? So this is an hierarchy. What type of field? It goes to the additional information section automatically. You haven't done anything. And when you try to go with this lookup, you can only select users of the Salesforce, those who are having a Salesforce license or a platform license. So right now there is only one user listed out. Although if you go back, if you go with, for example, if you go with manage users and user, you can see there are 4 users in Salesforce: training batch, chatter, user, integration and security. But they are not having, they are not having system admin profile. They are not having Salesforce license. Whereas this user system administrator, he is having, a Salesforce license, and he is having a standard profile. He's having a standard profile. So this is the reason, when you go with this, you can only select user. So you can make one user to get associated with another. Abhi main jaise wahi keh raha tha ki we don't have multiple users right now. So this user, ye user main jisko edit kar raha hu, this is what, it's a training batch 208 user. I could make this user to get associated to another user, right? But we must have users for them. Right now we don't have. I cannot make him associated to itself. Rather, I should make him associated to somebody else. But because we don't have any users, right? And so this is not possible to demonstrate right now. But this is how the hierarchies and all goes. This is how the hierarchies and all goes. Right? This is how the hierarchies and all work actually. So what is a hierarchy relationship? Hierarchy relationship is when the child and parent, both of the records, when the child and the parent, both of the records, they are present inside the same object. That is a hierarchy. That is a hierarchy relationship. If we wanted to create it, there is only one object where I could create a custom hierarchy, and that is user. Second point. First point, what is a hierarchy? When the parent record and a child record, both of them are associated to each other. And I'll after this discussion, one second, guys. So after this discussion, we would work on one of an interview question. That's a very common interview question. Let me first of all finish with this. Okay, what is a hierarchy? Hierarchy is a kind of relationship where we associate one record with another. but both of the record, the child record and the parent record, both of them belongs to same object. All right, that is what in hierarchy relationship. Point number 2, on which object you could create a hierarchy. If I would creating a custom hierarchy relationship, we could only create this inside user object. How to create that? I have shown you. How to create that? I have shown you. So we can create this relationship only, this custom hierarchy relationship, only and only with, only and only with a user object. Now, does it means that hierarchy is available only with user object? No. Hierarchy, there are so many standard relationships. There are so many standard objects in the Salesforce. They have this default hierarchy relationship. Let me try to grab some of them, right? If I go with an object called user, okay, see, user itself is having this relationship, by the way. User itself, you created one hierarchy from user to user. This is the one what you have created. This one you have created, right? There's one more hierarchy. I mean, manager, right? Manager. I mean, if I go with this hierarchy from user to user, manager, and then username. The user object, as you can see, user object is related to itself. You can see, and there is an hierarchy. This one is custom relationship, what you have created, right? And let me try to bring one more object like account. What is happening? Account. All right. And let me remove the user object from there. It would avoid your confusion. Account. See, the account object, as you can see, is related to itself. Account object is related to itself, right? Account object is related to itself. What kind of relationship? This is hierarchy. Now, if I ask you this question, parent account, let me try to show you that field. If you go to the account object, and if you go with this new, there's a field called as parent account. I mean, inside an account, I could select another account. I could make this account as a child account. And the parent is Burlington Textile Corporation of America. Could be my parent account. And whatever I'm creating, sample test account number 1 is what? It's a child account. So account object is having this behavior that you could make an association between one account to another account. And if I wanted to give you a live example for this, see, whenever you go for a proprietary account, I mean, you are opening, you go to a bank and you will ask them that I wanted to open an account in your bank. They would ask you, sir, what type of account do you wanted? You say to them that I wanted to have a saving account. They would ask you, you are going to be the solo borrower, or you wanted me to join this account with somebody else in your family or your friends? You said to them, yes, I wanted this account to get joined between me and my wife. All right. So there would be 2 owners for this. You would be considered as the primary owner, but when, I have to get the details of your wife as well. Please give me those details. And let's now consider that your details already have been entered with your name. All right. Let me consider that, the base account is Qasim. And then he is also entering, he's also entering. He's trying to create one more account, Neha. But that Neha is what? Is the wife of Qasim. So Qasim account would consider to be the parent account. This account belongs to, it will not having any separate account number. Rather, these are the 2 holders. But because he's the primary holder of this account, he belongs to what? Parent. This is what a behavior of an account object. You could select, and this is what the account only understand. Try to understand how actually CRM works. You cannot associate one contact with another contact. Contact could be associated with parent account, sorry. So this type of hierarchy, this relationship is only available with account and few more objects in Salesforce. So there are so many different objects, on which there is by default a hierarchy relationship is already present. All right, this is one question. I'll try to give you the list of all those. I probably have it. Let me try to grab it. I think I have it. I think I have it. Yeah, this one. This one. Right. These are those objects, they are having a hierarchy relationship. Account is one of them. Incidence, location, problem. Let me try to bring up that. See, if I, let me remove account. There is one object in Salesforce called as incidence. And incident, this one. Right. When you try to grab this, see, incident is one of the object in Salesforce. It too have hierarchy relationship. It also have hierarchy relationship. There's another object in Salesforce called as problem. Now this object problem also have this hierarchy relationship, right? I'm just trying to bring all of them onto canvas. User object also have it, but as soon as I bring user, it would make certain so many different associations, right? All right, let's not bring that. Account probably would help you out. So this is also one of the object in Salesforce which is having a self relationship. I mean, in hierarchy. Location, problem, like location is also one of the objects. Let me try to bring that as well. Location, you're right. So location is also one of that object which is having a default, I mean a standard, a standard hierarchy relationship. You can see like hierarchy from location to location. So these are some of the, standard objects in Salesforce that by default have this hierarchy relationship. They by default have it. But if I wanted to create a new hierarchy, I cannot create it inside account or any other. I could only create this inside user object. User object is the only object where you got this facility to create a new custom hierarchy relationship, right? Now this is the I mean, this is one of the point. Now one common interview questions what we ask about this is, all right, let's consider that, I wanted to, for example, let's go with any other object. I wanted to make a custom kind of relationship where I wanted to associate maybe one custom object or some another object, like if I wanted to associate one contact with another contact, if I wanted to associate one hiring manager with another hiring manager, maybe if I wanted to associate one candidate with another candidate by certain reasons, I don't know what, by certain reasons, for example, if I wanted that one contact should be associated to another contact, I wanted one hiring manager should be associated to another hiring manager, one location should be associated to another location. Oh, that is already there. But one, understand what I'm trying to say? I'm asking you to create an hierarchy relationship. Let's say between hiring manager to hiring manager. If you go with hiring manager, all right. If you go with hiring manager, for example, and you expand force.com, you go with new fields, right? You go with new fields. Do you have an option over here to create hierarchy? No. No, right? You go with the candidate object. I'm telling you to associate one candidate to another candidate due to certain requirements. Do you have any option to create hierarchy over here? No. And how would you associate one candidate to another candidate? How would you associate one hiring manager to another hiring manager? How would you associate one contact to another contact? That merely is not possible because we don't see the option called hierarchy over here. But this might be one requirement of Salesforce. हो सकता है और होता है ऐसा. For certain business reasons, we'll have to associate records of same object to each other. I cannot elaborate you more about this because right now I'm not getting a perfect example, but try to understand what you are going to do in that case. For example, I tell you to associate one account with another account. How you are going to make that association? How would you ever, how can you Apart from the hierarchy, how can you make an association of one record to another record, that to be in the same object? And this is one of the important interview question they would ask you. And I tell you, people usually don't discuss things like this in such a deep. I require lots of time. What you guys would be feeling के अभी तो ये नॉन कोडिंग है, कोडिंग में तो इससे भी ज्यादा समय लगना. I tell you one thing, कोडिंग मेरे को कम समय लगता है. Because यहाँ पे whenever I explain you something, there are so many things I have to make it. Coding में it's just a code what I have to explain. This line, this code does the same thing. Coding में मुझे बहुत कम समय लगता है. I'm telling you. Probably for this non-coding you would require 60 lectures. Coding में I could end up everything within 50, 40, 45, 50 lectures. तो यहाँ ज्यादा समय लगता है. हम सोचते हैं शायद कि कोडिंग में आपको वक्त लगेगा प्रैक्टिस के लिए, मुझे नहीं लगता एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए. यहाँ पे बिकॉज नॉन कोडिंग, सेल्सफोर्स का नॉन कोडिंग पार्ट बहुत एक्सटेंसिव है, बहुत ज्यादा बड़ा है. Yesterday itself, I was giving KT to one of my, newly joined colleague, and KT stands for knowledge transfer. Catch this term, KT. KT matlab knowledge transfer. What does KT actually means is like, whenever somebody joins new and I have to make him aware about what we do, what the process is. So that explanations also come into a terminology called as KT. So I was giving him a KT about one of our client, where I have associated. So I was telling to him that this project is a low code project. There are 3 categories of projects: low, moderate, and extensive. Yeah, high. In the Salesforce, we always try to do moderate or low coding. But for some of the reasons, for few of the complicated, things, we go with extensive coding. Otherwise, projects falls into 3 different kinds of categories: low code, moderate code, and high code. Yeah, extensive code. So I was giving him and KT, and I started like, this project is a low code product. As soon as I said this, and as soon as I said this statement, a product belongs to low code category, this actually means on this product there is extensive use of Salesforce non-coding features, and there are so many of them, and literally it is. I'm talking about one of my project where we have make extensive use of Salesforce out-of-box functionalities, profiles, roles, security models, process automation, but using flows and process builders, reports, analytics, approval process, translation workbenches, language settings, currency settings, territory management, extensive use of all non-coding. And do you know how much code we do? Only 10%. Only out of for running that product on live, we just have coded 10% portion of that project is on coding. Rest 90%, the whole thing has been designed by using this non-coding. So Salesforce का non-coding बहुत बड़ा है. और this is what it makes this language good for everybody. कोई भी आ सकता है Salesforce में. हाँ, बस you have to understand the process, business. बहुत सारे improvements लाने पड़ते हैं. You don't have to be a very good in coding, understand. That is what a beauty of Salesforce. लेकिन फिर नॉन कोडिंग पे आपके हैंड्स ऑन बहुत अच्छे होना चाहिए. यू कैन नॉट बी जैक ऑफ ऑल एंड मास्टर ऑफ नन. नो, जैक ऑफ ऑल इज अ गुड थिंग, बट यू शुड बी मास्टर इट एटलीस्ट वन, राइट? तो सेल्सफोर्स का नॉन कोडिंग बहुत बड़ा है और बहुत अच्छा है. बहुत सारे फीचर्स हैं जो सारे आपको बहुत इजीली यू कैन मैनेज दिस विदाउट राइटिंग अ कोड, बट दे आर वेरी डीप. Condition you somebody would take you to that much of the deep, तभी जाके ना आपको वो नजारा नजर आता है. तो ये एक सीन बहुत बार आपके सामने में क्रिएट हो सकता है जहां पे आपको एक ऑब्जेक्ट के 2 रिकॉर्ड्स को आपस में एसोसिएट करवाना है. जस्ट आई वाज ट्राइंग टू गिव विद एग्जांपल, जैसे कि हायरिंग मैनेजर की 2 हायरिंग मैनेजर रिकॉर्ड्स को आपस में एसोसिएट करना है, कॉन्टेक्ट को करना है. और हमें इमीडिएटली क्या क्लिक होता है? अरे अच्छा, सोर्स एंड डेस्टिनेशन, द टारगेट एंड द सोर्स, योर पेरेंट एंड चाइल्ड बिलोंग्स टू सेम ऑब्जेक्ट, गो विद हायरार्की, गो विद हायरार्की. अरे, do you have this option to create hierarchy over here? No. Can you create hierarchy apart from user object to any other object? No. Then why you are taking this name. But that doesn't mean that this cannot be done. Yes, it can be done with a lookup relationship. Yes, it can be done with a lookup relationship. I'll select the lookup relationship. I'll go with the next. I could end up topic over here, but this part you will never going to understand. If I end it over here, see, if I end it over here, where is contact here? I'm creating a relationship inside contact. I'm making it related to contact. I am creating a relationship inside contact. I'm making it related to contact. Can't it is possible? This is live. This is live. You can see, you can witness this with your own eyes. See, I go to hiring manager. What bad is happening? Yes. And then I'll expand. I'll try to create a relationship where I could associate hiring manager with another hiring manager. Can I do it? Yes. But with what? But with a lookup relationship, I'm creating a relationship within hiring manager. I'm making it related to hiring manager. And you could visualize, अभी आपको इतना knowledge आ चुका है कि after creating this field, what is going to be happen. चलो मैं उतना भी easy कर देता हूँ यार. Next. Let me give a name as senior HR. All right. Next. Make it visible for all of the users. Next. And save. So now if you go to hiring manager, you click on new button, you are having one field, senior HR, by which you could select one hiring manager, like this. See, for this hiring manager, for example, I'm creating an hiring manager record. All right. I'm creating a hiring manager record, right? Rahat Khan. Now this hiring manager reports to who is the senior hiring manager? Nilesh. Right. If I make this association, let me try to store some records like this, and the location would be Chennai. Let's try to save this. All right. So now this record hiring manager reports to another hiring manager. So this might be an associate or a junior person, a junior hiring manager who reports to senior hiring manager. A very common scenario in industry, a very common scenario. You always work within a manager. I myself, I'm a manager to somebody. I'm a subordinate to someone else. Now, because I'm a technical lead, so I have a team. I have 5%, those who are, those who for them, I'm actually working with them. But I have to report something to my manager as well. I have a delivery manager on my head. So this is a very common scenario in industry. If you feel I'm a manager, I also have a manager. If you think that you have to report somebody to me, I have to report somebody to something else. That is how it goes. So what is an alternative solution of hierarchy? When you wanted the same functionality, I wanted to associate an object with itself. But that is not an user object. Then how to create that? So you can create this with a lookup relationship. And that is why lookup is very flexible and it's the first choice of every developer. Lookup relationship is the first choice of every developer. Why? Because a kind of flexibility, guys, what you get with lookup, no other relationship would provide you. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. Lookup relationship बहुत जबरदस्त चीज है. Try to get yourself involved in this training. Make yourself understand every feature in deep. तभी मजा आएगा तुमको. Just don't stop where जहां पे मैं stop होता हूँ. मैं lecture end करता हूँ is not the stop of that topic. It's actually starting of something new. You learn something from me. Go and explore it. Go and try to find out the ways what you can do with the same concept. Right? Explore that. Go with Google करो, इंटरनेट पे जाओ, YouTube देखो. ये 6-8 महीने के लिए सारी वेब सीरीज और जो भी तुम्हारे शौक है ना, सारे बंद कर दो. पूरी तरह से ना अपने आप को इसमें डाल दो, पूरी तरह से. उसके बाद देखो फिर लाइफ में, अरे लाइफ पड़ी है यार, कुछ नहीं होता. बहुत आसाम से आईटी में आने के बाद में लाइफ इज वेरी इजी. आई टेल यू दैट. 1-2 साल का स्ट्रगल सबको रहता है बिकॉज दैट इज इन स्टार्ट ऑफ योर करियर. उसके बाद में इट गोज, ग्राफ गोज वेरी लीनियंटली and you will get time to enjoy everything in your life. I'm telling you this. मैं आपको ऐसा कुछ नहीं बोल रहा. मैं आपको अपनी जगह रख के देखता हूँ. When I started, it was very struggle time. during my trainings, during my interviews process, and after that, after getting selection, is starting real time. मैं तो खैर काफी कोशिश करता हूँ आपको वो सारी रियल टाइम की चीजें बताने की. वी वर कंप्लीटली ब्लैंक दैट टाइम. कुछ भी नहीं, जो पढ़ा था वो अलग था, जो बता रहे हैं वो अलग था. एंड आई वाज थिंकिंग लाइक कि ये मैंने पढ़ा तो भी है क्या, डिड आई इवन नो दिस. तो खैर आपके साथ वैसा नहीं है एग्जैक्टली. देयर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स आई यूज्ड टू टेल यू. अगर आप वाकई में सारी चीजें याद रख पाए ना, तो आपको ये कम से कम ये सीन आपके सामने तो नहीं बनेगा. बट फिर एक वक्त आता है कि यू स्टार्ट एंजॉयिंग योर लाइफ, बिकॉज कितना भी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड चीज आ जाए, वो इसके बाहर नहीं होता. वंस यू नो दिस, अरे दिस इज समथिंग आई ऑलरेडी डिड इन पास्ट. तो ना यू बिकम रिलैक्स, एंड दैट गोज लाइक 2 से 3 साल बाद यहाँ से प्रोबेबली आपको वो फीलिंग आना शुरू हो जाती है. वहां से फिर आप अपनी लाइफ एंजॉय करना शुरू कर देते हो. चलो, सो बेसिकली देयर इज अ सॉल्यूशन फॉर एवरीथिंग. यू जस्ट हैव टू थिंक आउट ऑफ बॉक्स. तो I would going to share you this diagram. This diagram, see, on the one hand, I mean, on the left hand side, you can see specifically those objects of Salesforce that are having a hierarchy by default, standard hierarchy relationship. On the other hand, you would see all those objects that are related to itself but not in hierarchy. Let me try to show you, like case, contact. These are some of the objects that by default is having a relationship to itself, but that is not hierarchy. That is a lookup relationship. Let me try to show you that as well. So if you go to schema builder and I just clear out everything, if I bring object like contact, didn't I cleared everything? What is happening with my mouse? Let me refresh this. Right? Incident. Let me try to bring up an object like contact. All right, so you see why you see problem, I don't know. Anyways, but you see the contact is having a self relationship, right? A self relationship. That's a lookup relationship. Now you could term this as a self relationship if you wanted. You can term this as an hierarchy. Although there is a minute difference here. I mean, if you ask me, sir, what is the difference in hierarchy? I mean, I could have only one point. Hierarchy is specifically with very few objects. Account, incidents, location, problems, and user. These are the relationship over there are hierarchy. But apart from this, if you can see that an object give you a facility that it's really connected to itself, that is not a hierarchy. That you could term is that as a self relationship, but better would be like lookup relationship, because there is nothing called a self relationship. आप self इसको भी तो बोल सकते हो यार. So self relationship ना बोलते हुए ना, let's term this as a lookup only. Let's keep it as it is. We're not going to invent a new terminology for this, because this also is a self relationship, right? But here it's a lookup. So whenever there's a requirement that you wanted to form a self relationship, but you don't have user object apart from user, wherever you create it. For example, we just now have created this onto hiring manager, right? Let me try to bring that hiring manager over here. Now you can see, you just have created that self association, self joint, self relationship, but it is not hierarchy. It's what? It's a lookup relationship, right? So this is how to solve this issue, and this would occur. कभी ना कभी टकराओगे तुम इस प्रॉब्लम से, कभी ना कभी तुम मेनी टू मेनी से टकराओगे. 1-to-1 पे भी आऊंगा मैं आपसे. तो आई एम प्रिपेयरिंग यू फॉर एवरी पॉसिबल सिनेरियो फ्रॉम माय ओन एक्सपीरियंस. जितना मैंने आज तक देखा है सेल्सफोर्स को, जितना मैंने सीखा है, और काफी हद तक अभी तो काफी कुछ सीख चुका हूं मैं. कुछ चीजें हैं ऐसी जो शायद मुझे नहीं आती हूँ अभी. कोई भी कंप्लीट नहीं होता है. एवरीबॉडी हैव अ फ्लॉ. फ्लॉ मेक्स यू अ ह्यूमन, अदरवाइज आप तो रोबोट बन जाओगे यार. तो कुछ चीजें नहीं आती हैं, बट अगर मैं कुछ नया सीखता हूँ तो आई यूजुअली यूज टू टेल दिस फॉर, हाँ हो सकता है आपकी बैच में या नेक्स्ट बैच जो भी है, बट दिस इज व्हाट अप टू व्हाट आई नो इन सेल्सफोर्स. जो मेरा एक 7 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है, उसमें मैंने जितना कुछ सीखा है वो सारी चीजें मैं लेके आता हूँ. इसलिए थोड़ा सा वक्त लगता है मुझे ट्रेनिंग देने में. बट एक चीज अच्छी है, इससे आपको आपको रियल टाइम पे तकलीफ नहीं जाएगी. कंडीशन, आप एडिटर मत बनना. मैंने जितना पढ़ाया उतना सारी चीजें याद रखो. आप रिवाइज करो अपने ट्रेनिंग्स को हर बार. क्या पता कब उसकी जरूरत पड़ जाए अपने को, राइट? So these are some of the things, you know, बाकी मुझे नहीं लगता कि कहीं आपको ये पता चल सकता है. All right. I would end up today over here only. Tomorrow, I'm going to complete these two things: conversion of one relationship into another relationship. Like we would try to complete both of them, converting a lookup to master at the same time master to lookup, at vice versa as well. I'll try to convert. I'll try to take these three topics. वो डिपेंड करता है यार कितना एक्सप्लेनेशन जाएगा मेरा उसके ऊपर. एंड देन इट वुड बी द लास्ट टॉपिक जो रोल अप्स. नहीं अभी तो काफी कुछ बचा है. Yes, anyways, I'm giving you this command. Now you can unmute yourself. Any questions? Anything, guys?
Yes, sir. Sir, day before yesterday, I posted one query on group.
What is that? I haven't seen it.
See, space C were coming everywhere on my interface.
All right, over here.
No, sir, before this.
No, you like, you know, inside when you see the name of this, right?
Yes,
This is what.
yeah. If I open position or any object, see description /C or department space C, we are coming. So you told me that it was like custom object, so it is coming, but it is not coming on your interface or my friends.
Understood.
So why it is coming on my interface only?
You are looking into something called as,
like,
you're looking into something called as API name. Have you installed any a kind of add-ons or something? Have you have any extensions?
No, sir.
Like something like Salesforce API field names, ऐसा कुछ है क्या आपके browser पे? Did you have anything like this? Because this type of interfaces, you know, these are some of the extensions which actually give you this. I have to look into this, or maybe there are certain settings.
Like this only, candidate location.
I understand what you are saying. You are, I mean, instead of labels, these are, we called it as label. So instead of label, you are looking into API names.
They are also, hiring manager is on top, no? They are also space C.
Yes, of course, because hiring manager also is a custom object. When you look at into the candidate, that can, first of all, let's understand what this __ C. Every custom entity, if it's an application, if it's an object, if it's a field, that's always appended with, you know, that's always appended with a naming convention called __ C. So that __ C always represent that this one is a custom entity, though it's a name of an object, it's a name of an application, or maybe it's a name of a field, right? That actually represents a custom entity. But why you are looking it over here, usually it's not. So that is something I have to check it out. I mean, I was probably I mean, having, like, you must have installed certain extensions, how we usually do this. But now if you are saying to me that you haven't installed any such a kind of thing,
no sir, no, actually
I have to check from where the settings are. All right, I'll try to, please mute yourself. I'll try to get a solution for this.
Okay, sir.
Otherwise, you can simply go and go. Please mute yourself. Please go with Google, and you know, from the Google also try to get it. I'm looking onto API name instead of field labels. So you can try with this. What you are looking is something called as API name, application program interfaces. तो थोड़ा सा Google करो, research करो. I'll also try अगर मुझे time मिलता है तो.
Actually, we tried.
अच्छा ठीक है, फिर मुझे करने दो फिर. I'll get back to you, but I'll not promise कि कब आऊंगा मैं वापस इस पे, लेकिन आ जाऊंगा, ठीक है? Mostly with weekends.
Okay.
ठीक है. All right. Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Sir, why not open recorded
session? Bhageshri, your network is very pure. I'm not getting what you're saying.
Hello. My voice is clear, sir.
Guys, can anyone explain me what she's trying to say?
Hello.
No, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. All right, I have another batch. It's 8:30 already. You wanted to ask me something? Just try to put it into your group. Thank you so much for joining.